Yeah, hi guys, Charlie here, and I just want to share with you a common story that I hear is when a guy calls me or contacts me on the chat to say that his partner or his wife's just left him, and she said she's been thinking about it for a long time. Well, this is really a question about beliefs and an example of how beliefs really govern your behaviour. And you know, I've seen women that have read a quiz in something like a Woman's Day magazine that said, you know, the 10 ways to tell if you're still right for your husband. And they do the quiz, and to their shock and behold, they tick off 3 things out of the 10 that you're doing already. And that's alarming. Now, one thing about the brain is that the brain, whatever idea you've got floating around in your head, your brain will look for evidence to support that belief. Now, there's a big difference between a strong belief and a weak belief. Right now, a strong belief, I'll give you an example. For most people, if I said, do you think the sun's going to rise in the east tomorrow morning? Most people would go, absolutely dead set certain. It's almost like a trick question, isn't it? But the reason why it's a strong belief is because there's so much evidence that's going to suggest that's going to happen again. In the last year alone, 365 times that's happened. So you'd lay money on the fact that the sun's going to come up tomorrow morning in the east. Now, I'm a Collingwood fan and I believe Collingwood's going to win the grand final next year, but I don't have as much evidence to support that belief. And that's more of not a strong belief. Okay, so when the lady who checks off 3 things on the quiz, well, that's the day that the idea was generated. The idea was born that day. And it floats around in their head, wondering, am I still right for my husband? So she goes back and looks at the quiz and looks at the other 7 points. And what happens then, and you'll feel it when it happens, that nothing you do is ever right because they're looking for those other 7 points. Now, the problem is the brain will go, if it looks like evidence, it's evidence. And sometimes it might not really be evidence, but if it looks like it, they'll use it. And so what happens often over a period of up to 2 years, your partner's just picking up fault after fault because that's what they're focused on. And as soon as they've got that focus, that's when it's, you know, somehow we've got to be aware of that and get rid of that at that time, because it's not even helpful for her to be having that belief in her head that maybe you're not right for each other. Okay, so, you know, when she does get up one morning and say, that's it, I'm out of here. And you're sitting there thinking, what? We just got back from Bali last Thursday. But since Thursday and now, something's happened and she's hit the tipping point. And the fact that it's almost now undeniable that there's no future because she's got all this evidence that she's been collecting for 2 years. Now, the fact of the matter is, if you've been getting into rapport regularly, daily, for a long time, she would have thrown that list out long ago and not even been looking for it. But when you start getting into the habit of rolling, just going through the motions, coming home from work, flopping in the couch, grabbing out your phone, hardly making a greeting, when you're going through the motions, it's the signal that you need to be alert, because you should be getting into rapport every day. But it's a great example of how a belief can just spiral and spiral and spiral out of control. And when a belief comes so much that there's just no belief there anymore that there's a future, that's the day they'll get up and walk out. And unfortunately, that's the time when it's already too late. So have a think about that. Are you getting into rapport every day? And is your partner unconsciously looking for faults? Because wherever you look for dirt, you'll find dirt. Might not be dirt, but you'll find something that looks like dirt. And the problem is they go with that anyway. So just be aware of what your partner's believing about you. All right, that's it for today. Take care. Have a good one.